Okay, time to secure the wiring on guitar number 3, version 3. My apologies, in the previous episode there was some wind noise due to the fan. Yeah, I had the fan and it was more or less blowing right on me, and so it was blowing kind of across the bench. And that's the side of the phone that the microphone is on, so when I got it in the windstream, it started sounding like I was, at the beach during a gale or something. But yeah, now I've got it pointed up, so hopefully there'll be no audio interference. Where we're at is electronics are done, all installed, all wired up, everything. Just need to tape them up and tack them down. I slapped a big old piece of tape on the bridge because I got tired of it always falling off, and just the strings kept sliding underneath this tape, and so they weren't really holding it on that good. So, yeah, next thing to do is any exposed portion of the positive bus, need to cover it with electrical tape so that nothing can ground out against it and kill the signal. It's not really critical to put a tape or insulation or anything on the negative bus, as long as the positive bus is safely insulated from accidental contacts. And then, yeah, tack it down. So yeah, first step is going to be perhaps, tape wherever it happens to be called for, and then tack it down, and then it's time for setup, I believe. Okay, so looks like this is going to be the first place that needs to be taped up, between like here and here, and then might want to try to sneak a little tape. Come on, thing, focus. Never send a phone to do a camera's job, man. Yeah, screw it, lost it. But yeah, anyway, over on the other side of the switch, sorry for the blur, folks, I'm not even looking through the camera, yeah, I'm not even shooting at it. Now, this stupid thing. This might not even be worth trying to film. Come on, focus. Had it for a minute. I don't know. Wish there was a way to do a manual focus on this, but I don't know how to use the thing. Okay, anyway, over here on this side, that might be able to stand a little tape too. And then you got your connection for the kill button. Oh, looks like you got a loose connection here. Yep. Oh, that sucks. Get a loose connection on the kill switch ground. So I'm gonna have to touch that with the gun and some solder again. Okay. Trying some 4x zoom here in order to get a better close-up. Might be a little grainy though. Yeah, I got that middle one reconnected, and the one on the left with the white insulation, it's going to need a bit of tape on both sides of that left terminal on the on-off switch here. So yeah, some tape on the positive side. Got that reconnected on the negative side. And then I'm just going to have to be real careful when I take all these wires and bend them into final position for tacking down, that I don't break any of these solder joints. So and grab the electrical tape and a little scissors. One thing, pause. Okay, there's the first one. All I did was I took some electrical tape and I cut a small piece, maybe a ½ inch length or 13, 15 mils, something like that. And I just basically folded it over the wire and then trimmed it nice and close. And it makes a nice little insulator. So, yeah. So, that's one side. Now, over here on the other side, wow, this would be pretty good, actually. Okay, yeah. So maybe just a little bit on the left here between the post and the red wire. And I think that'll do it. Because see, then it's kind of confusing because you've got, you see up here, this is the ground wire that's actually running in front of all this stuff and not touching it, but it's hard to tell at this particular angle. I don't want to move the camera much because we'll probably lose focus. But, and right now we're doing awesome for the close-ups of the wiring. So, yeah, a bit of tape from this terminal here over to the red stuff here. Yeah, here. Yeah, see, that's not connected. We're not looking at this wire. We're looking at this wire back here. So, get this thing off the zoom. Alright, let me do some more taping. Okay, I've bent the negative bus here. Sorry about that, wrong button. I bent the negative bus here out of the way so it's easier to see what's going on. Let's get the camera to focus again. Okay, come on. Okay, now. That's good enough. Okay, so now it's a little easier to see what's going on. The positive bus is this guy under here. And I got that second piece of tape on it now. And then it connects to that goes off to the kill switch. And then that goes off to the pickup. And then this guy up here is, no, don't lose focus, piece of shit. Just losing it. Yeah, so this guy up here, that's the negative bus. All along there. And that goes off to the pickup too. So, yeah, so all the positive sides all taped up and insulated and everything. Let me get this off the zoom. Everything should be ready for tacking down. Here's a little hint for you, tip, trick. When I was doing trying to rewire this center terminal on the on-off switch, and I was wiring basically a bare piece of wire, the negative bus here to it. So, as a matter of fact, did I just pull it loose again? No. Goddamn. I did pull it loose again. Alright, well, I've got to do it again. But anyway, here's the tip, is that, as you can see, I'm going to have to push it down to do that. And this thing is all bare wire, and it's a pretty large hunk of bare wire, so I'm going to have to get it kind of hot in order to get things to work. I'm going to have to hold it in a position. And so the trick is that you use a toothpick in order to do this, because you can do it, this will hold the wire so that you don't have to use your fingers, which will, wire's going to get hot. You might burn yourself, it hurts and stuff. And also this isn't, you don't want to use like, you know, a screwdriver or something, because this is metal and this will act as a heat sink and just make the whole job harder. So yeah, there's your trick for the day, is when you need to hold a wire in place while you're soldering and it's too hot to handle with your fingers, you can use a toothpick in order to hold it in place. And you won't get burned, and you won't be adding a heat sink to the situation that makes the whole project take longer. So now I've got to, yeah, see, that's what I get for trying to be a nice guy and move the stuff around so you all can see what I'm doing. It's not your fault, I'm just kidding. I'll go put it back together. It's, what it is that these switches, these are not like those Tessie switches that I've got. These are just little mini switches, and so they're not tough, and they can't really handle a whole lot of heat. And because of that, I can't really do a proper soldering job. And because of that, that's the reason why anytime I move anything, the solder joint breaks. So yeah, now let me put the solder joint back, get these wires plumbed and tacked down before I break more solder joints. So I'll be back. Okay. Got, where are we at here? We got this guy in the middle soldered up again, and I put in the first holder down here. I just took the mini drill and put the wire in the right position, and then used the drill to drill the hole. Didn't bother with like punching it or anything, because this thing's like so slow that it's almost like using a variable speed. You can get a hole started without really having to punch it. And drilled it down to approximately correct depth. When I'm doing these, I like to leave the holes just a little bit shallow, so that just like the point on the end of the nail is digging into virgin wood. And then put a drop of CA glue on it with the same toothpick I used to hold the wire to redo that. And slipped it in there, lined it all up nice and straight and everything, and then give it a couple gentle taps with the miniature brass hammer. And it's, you know, pretty clean and flat, so it's not going to mess up the tack any. And that seats it at more or less the correct height, and then that's all there is to it. And when you want to take it apart, you just come in with a pair of needle nose and grab it and give it a little twist and pluck it out. And you can mess around with your wiring, move stuff. Little bitty holes like this are not that hard to fill if you want to be all anal retentive about your finish. So But anyway, yeah, so there's the first one. I'm guessing I got maybe 3 more to go. When I slapped this tape on so the bridge would stop falling off, it finally got to the point where the guitar is assembled enough that I can check out the way it balances and things like that. Turns out that the center of balance is right around the 17th fret, which would be 12, 15, 17, right about here. Maybe 18th fret? Nope. 17th fret. Nope. 17 and a half. There it is. 17 and a half. Okay, so yeah, 17 and a half is the balance point right now. And that's with everything on. The bridge is on, all the electronics are on, everything's on except for the strap. And yeah, so that's not bad. That's not bad. That means it's definitely not top heavy, and it's not really bottom heavy either. So, and then I also, since it's this together now, I can finally toss her on a scale that's got all the parts installed, including, you know, the wrenches and everything. So yeah, even with like the wrenches on board and everything, it's only tipping scales at 5 pounds and 2 ounces, and that's with a Floyd Rose. So I'm pretty pleased about that. It's got really good balance. The guitar only weighs about 5 pounds, and it's got a Floyd Rose on it. Granted, it's only got 1 pickup. You know, if you went for 2 pickups and a couple line controls, it's going to add. It wouldn't put it up to 6 pounds yet, though. So it's going to be nice as far as like the weight goes, I do believe. Alrighty, but anyway, I still got about 3 pardon my French. I have about 3 pins left to go in order to get all this wiring tacked down. So let me get back to that. Well, it took a bit of wrangling, but I got the second pin in there. So yeah, there we go. It's 2 down and like 2 more to go. Okay, got the last 2 pins in and plugged it into an amp just to make sure that I didn't mess anything up and everything's good. So I'll be back in a minute. So there's the location of the last 2 pins, and as you can see, this cable going to the kill switch is half an inch, 10 cm, 15 cm longer than need be, but it's close enough for government work, I guess, as they say. So I mean, you know, in the big scheme of things, it doesn't really stick out that much. It doesn't even stick up as much as the bar does, so I don't think it's not going to be in the way or anything like that. So yeah, really, the slick way to do it would be you'd wire it to the switch, and then you'd go ahead and nail it all the way down until you got up to this end, and then you'd maybe even pull a nail out in order to get enough free cable in order to actually at that point cut it to length precisely and strip it and everything, and then bring it back in and wire it up, or maybe disconnect this and solder it and then reinstall that. But that's glued on. So yeah, this is, you know, if you want to be obsessive, it's just one of these detail things, you know. If you want to be obsessive compulsive, you can turn out wiring as good as you'll find on, like, you know, $1,000 plus guitars. It's just a matter of taking your time and making it look pretty and neat. So this is neat and pretty enough, I do believe, and it's definitely functional and serviceable. So should have no issues. You know, I mean, it's all like tacked down real good, and it's not going to move or go anywhere or any of it. So So yeah, I think it should be okay until some electrical component on it fails, and then it's relatively easy to take apart because it's only got 4 little pins holding it all to the guitar, and then all you need is a soldering iron. So I think that's going to take care of like taping up and pinning down the wiring. And the next thing is the setup. So this is time to put the bridge on for real. Yeah, I was thinking about how I want to do this. Put the bridge on for real. See, because of the way this guitar is designed, there's nothing back here to block the trim easily, and so yeah, I need to come up, it would be nice to come up with some way to block the trim so it won't do a pull up. Oh, wait, hold on. No, I need to block the trim so it won't do a pull up. And then I can do that. And then I can tighten the springs however tight I think they need to be. And then if it actually starts to move on me, then I can tighten the springs more. Wait, hold on. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so I need to block this thing off so it won't do a pull-up, or it would be nice to be able to do that. And I set the screws up for the claw where I think they ought to be, and then I start stringing it up, and if it starts to do a dive on me, because remember it's blocked for pull-up, for no pull-up. And if it starts to do a dive on me, then my screws are not tight enough, and I tighten them up until it comes back level again. And then maybe make them just a quarter turn tighter, and continue stringing it up and bringing it up to tension. And then when I'm done, I should be able to tune it up, and the trim will be level, and then I should be able to back off the screws like, about a quarter turn, and the block should slip out or drop out. And it should be, at that point, it should be pretty much in tune, and the trim should be level, and it should be unlocked and full floating. And so yeah, it would be very nice to figure out a way that I can block this thing so that it won't do a pull up. It'd be really slick if I could figure out a way to block it or lock it so it into a true hardtail position temporarily, just for stringing up the tune-ups, the way you can with the Steinberger R-type trim, $31 on eBay. Yeah, so I mean, I love Floyd Rose as well, but gotta face facts. There's a new sheriff in town, and it was invented, back in the early 80s, I think. It's when the Steinberger R-Type came out, mid-80s, something like that. Yeah, first they had the trans trim, and then they had the R trim, or the S trim. I'm not really super up on my Steinberger history. There's not a lot of info, and everything's named by a code letter, like L series and M series and stuff. And then it gets confusing because then they resurrected the name and they're doing reproduction stuff. And now it's got names like Spirit and things, and it's when it's actually like a GL4 or something. X, I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Steinberger nomenclature, it's almost as bad as Ibanez. But I digress. Yeah, so like I was saying, it'd be real nice to be able to lock down this Floyd Rose the way you can lock down the Steinberger in the hardtail mode temporarily for restrings and tune-ups. So I'm going to have to ponder on that for a moment, I think, because that's what's next, I do believe. How long are we at here? Well, we're already at almost 18 minutes, so maybe I should say, okay, call this a video, and in the next one I'll string it up and set it up. Yeah, let's do that. Keep it short and sweet. So 18 minutes, signing off, hailing frequencies closed for the moment. Until the next video, everybody, have a good one.